Welcome to the Digital Couch, a podcast about the ever changing world of digital. The Digital Couch is brought to you by ValueFirst. The podcast features leading global thinkers and their stories from the world of business, management, and marketing. Now, here's your host, Shoury Gupta.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us Payal Koul. Payal has held leadership roles at IBM, Invest India, Wipro, and Alcatel. Payal, why don't you say hi to our listeners?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you all. And thank you so much for inviting me, Shaurya, for this podcast.
My pleasure. All right then, let's get into it. I actually wanted to get started with your story, and I mean, from the research I've been doing over the last few days on the internet, it's very interesting, and I have some questions about your journey, but I want to start with the fact that what made you fall in love with the idea of business development in your early career days?
Interesting. I started my career with sales, Shaurya, and why I did that is because I think I was highly influenced by a lot of my family members who I looked up to, and they were in the same field. And once I started off in sales, I really enjoyed it a lot. It gave me an opportunity to meet up a lot of people. And being a people's person, I really enjoyed that part of my role. I've also been in technology and services domain for most of my career, and being in BD gave me the chance to understand what's happening in the industry, what clients actually need, and a broad understanding of the field. And I think the third key thing is that eventually as I moved into more business management and P&L roles, I think my experience in BD helped me understand and manage the business and my clients really well. So I think overall I've just really liked doing business development always.
Very nice. Also, I mean, the fact that you've seen the world of business development evolve over the last years, right? I mean, how things were in 2000 versus how things are today in 2020. And I mean, from what I hear and what I've seen to an extent, that how the world's come up from the days of cold calls to automated business cycles today.
Yeah.
You want to take us through sort of a journey there?
So Shaurya, the change, of course, is the level of automation in the field. How AI-based market research, automation of tools, and even CRM tools are helping business development professionals get much more productive and effective in their jobs. When I started off, and it was way earlier than 2000, um, we didn't have the concept of CRM, right? So everything was in your notes, in your mind. So as a person left an organization, the entire knowledge went along with that person. So it's definitely changed how the sales professionals work now. It's also much more easier to connect with clients now, given the various digital platforms that bring us closer. But all that said, I would like to highlight that one thing that has not changed and will never change is how you connect with the client, be it face to face or digital. Having the best interest of your client in mind, understanding their explicit and implicit requirements, being empathetic are key to be successful in this field.
Very nice. So, in fact, on the point when you say you have to connect with your clients, it's often said that people buy you and not the product or the service that you're selling. And sales has exactly become this sales or business development. It's more about creative storytelling now, and this is how things have evolved. But what other efforts do you think organizations are doing or should be doing to train their sales force in this new shift, if I could put it that way?
Sure. So, like I said earlier, no technology can replace how we connect with our clients. Technology uh, can only enable, but sales is finally about connecting better. And one of the ways to connect is, being great at presenting. Having the ability to make your client interested in what you are selling. It's important for the salespeople to be empathetic, understand what the client needs, and be able to connect it to the offerings that you have in your organization. And for some, it may be an innate skill, but this is definitely something we can learn. And training that organizations work on for their salespeople should be focused not just on your company products or solutions, but you should also train your business development teams for soft skills, presentation techniques, collaborative leadership, role play. And in today's time, I think it's extremely important to train the sales teams on how to interact and connect digitally with your clients.
No, you pick up a very good point there about how you have to interact digitally, and that's a skill. I think I could be wrong here. Correct me if I am. That the fact that this entire sales force and business development is more about creating relations when they meet a client to a large extent, and
Right.
suddenly shifting everything digitally is a sort of a challenge. So, how did maybe you help your team like over the last few weeks or months, like helping them transition to a digital ecosystem? Were there any particular steps you took?
So there were lots of trainings that we worked on, and a couple of great speakers that we could manage to bring to for our sales teams, who spoke about how exactly to connect and talk to clients when you are talking to them digitally, right? So we are used to, generally, all the salespeople, they have this formal side where you're presenting and everything is very formal, the way you talk, the way you present your offer. And then, while you're walking in the corridor, you speak to the client, you try and connect. You get that personal touch, connect, and information, which goes a long way in helping to close the deal, right?
Yeah.
And now that we don't have that anymore, a lot of salespeople are, wondering how to do it also officially on a call. So there are techniques that you can go through where you can look at, how to do a formal presentation, how to keep a couple of minutes for that personal touch, how to ensure that you are listening more to the client. Everyone is working on a war footing this time, right? We are all working from home for home, so no one has the luxury of time. So you need to do things fast. You need to be able to connect on a call, be it audio or video. And like I said, there were a couple of trainings that we worked on, and also some speakers who helped us talk through the situation.
Very nice. All right. So moving on, I have a very controversial question because I'm myself a marketer. And
Okay.
it's often said that marketing and sales are at war when it comes to most of the organization, and they work towards the same goal. Yet they have rocky ways of reaching there when they hold hands. And do you have a view on the fact that how marketing should be supporting sales or sales should be supporting marketing?
So, I believe, Shaurya, that marketing and sales are two sides of the same coin. It's a highly interdependent ecosystem, and one can't do without the other. So while marketing is responsible for brand and, let's say, various marketing campaigns which further the cause of what sales is trying to achieve,
Yeah,
sales feeds marketing with the base data and on the ground information, without which no marketing campaign can be successful.
true.
And if we look at the corporate world today, it has moved to a much more complex matrix structure, and success is all about collaboration. And in this environment, being at war with your other side would definitely be not a prudent thing to do. So I don't think you can survive in sales or in marketing without taking support from each other.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very fair. I mean, just announcement. I do support the sales team. I mean, just in case it came across wrongly. Anyway, so I also want to bring in a very typical question of 2020. I mean, we're all surrounded with the uncertainty that COVID's brought to this entire world.
Mhm.
What has your experience been, or your take towards what's been happening?
So, I'll give a generic answer. My view is that any crisis is also an opportunity. The companies and people who can reinvent themselves fast and handle the situation come out stronger and will be successful in the future. And in my view, this is the time to focus on the resiliency of your operations, process, people, infrastructure. I can talk about the technology domain. So, technology companies, in my view, are actually doing uh, pretty well, as all other industries are scrambling to enable work from home, ensuring that their infrastructure is resilient. In fact, a lot of technologies like cloud, AI, digital transformation are seeing a accelerated adoption by the rest of the industry. So, my take is, yes, it's not a good time, but at the same time, everything brings an opportunity. The key is to be able to find that opportunity.
All right, with you on that. And what about personally? Did you learn something new over the last few months at home? I mean, for example, I started baking a lot, and I think I enjoy it. Did you do something as well?
So I've actually, personally, Shaurya, it's been a very productive time for me. So I've been working for the past 25 years non-stop,
Yeah.
and suddenly, while you're still working, there is a pause in life, right? And with a situation like this, it does make you think what is really, really important in your life and what are your priorities. So for me, I'm just absolutely loving spending time with my family, my daughter. We are baking together, we are cooking together. I've also started writing, something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And frankly, I'm actually rethinking my priorities and ensuring that I'm ready for the future.
Very nice. All right. Coming back to the question about COVID, I mean, I also wanted to link sales with it. And because from what I see, it's a function that's been affected to an extent. And the reason being that brands are cutting their budgets. And we already spoke about the challenges of virtual meetings. So you spoke about how companies should be working on their operations and making them better. But what about this particular BD or sales team in particular? What is that should be? What should they be doing? I mean, should they still be focused on just turning the sales needle left, right, or what are the things they should be doing these days?
So I think so. I'll answer the question in two parts. First, of course, this is a time that you need to spend on building your skills, and we are lucky that we are getting this time. Otherwise, a lot of us would spend a lot of time just on the road trying to meet clients.
Yeah.
And now that we have that time on our hands, it is up to us how we utilize it best and ensure that we enhance our skills. That's one, and the key answer that I would want to say for all the salespeople. The second thing is, we have to understand that there are some industries that are definitely impacted very adversely. And then there are some like the tech industry, the online industry, which is not impacted as badly. right? I'm not saying that they're doing fabulous,
Yeah.
but they are not very, very adversely impacted. So, depending on which industry you are in,
Hmm.
focus on enhancing your skills. One, which I already spoke about, and two, be innovative in your approach. If you are in a B2B sector, companies are buying. You need to figure out how to reposition your offering to make it more valid to the COVID situation. For example, look at innovative business models. Like, can you make your business model more OPEX based instead of CAPEX?
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're in a B2C sector, maybe it's best to align more with marketing and strengthen your partnerships in channel, and be innovative about what are the newer avenues of sales that you can create for your organization. So basically, the answer is twofold: invest in yourself and invest in being more innovative.
All right. That's pretty cool. And shall we also link this with how the process of digital transformation has speeded up? In fact, I mean, sales has been a function in which this technology had already played a huge role. You spoke about CRM to an extent, but with the advent of new technologies and tools such as automation, chatbots, they're also making a huge impact on how the BD and the sales function work on day-to-day life, right?
Sure. Sure. So I think, Shaurya, in let's say 2000, we relied solely on cold calls
Yeah.
for our new client acquisition, right? For example. But now, when I look at organizations, and all the organizations that I've worked for the last few years, since these technologies have come up, like chatbot, even precision marketing using artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
the digital platforms, all of them empower the salespeople with a much more valid list of potential clients, right? So finally, what it is achieving for us is, it makes our life much easier and makes the sales function much more productive, than what we could have achieved a couple of years back. So it's been a great journey, and it's definitely here to stay.
All right. Really cool. And hopefully get better. All right. So before I close, I also want to ask you one last question, and you could take it on a personal or a professional note. But what is your one favorite thing and your one least favorite thing about being in the ecosystem of business development?
Okay. So the favorite part is easy.
Hmm.
I love being close to clients,
All right.
right? I love being on the field. I love listening to them. I love understanding what is critical to their business, and then being able to connect the dots to what I have to offer, right? And I just love doing this. I've always loved this about BT.
Yeah.
But what I sometimes don't appreciate is, the short term focus that sometimes the BD functions have. It's imperative to look at both, quarter on quarter growth, but at the same time, it is very important to have a strategy for long term growth and keep an eye on how the revenue can be increased exponentially. And you can't do that if you're very short sighted. And unfortunately, a lot of organizations make this mistake, and a lot of organizations do this, especially in the times of crisis. So, just the quarter becomes so important that you just lose sight of what you actually want to do and why you exist.
Very interesting. Nice. All right, Payal. This was very short, sweet, and very nice. I mean, I got to learn some new things about this world. And thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you here.
Thank you so much, Shaurya. It was lovely to interact with you, and I really hope this session will be beneficial for everyone who listens.
Likewise.
Thanks for joining us this time on The Digital Couch. Make sure to visit our website, VFirst.com, where you can subscribe to the show on the platform of your choice. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, do write to us at thedigitalcouch@vfirst.com. Be sure to tune in to our next episode. See you.